Every morning, you open your eyes and step into a world that feels solid, personal, and familiar. You slip back into a name, a history, and a long list of expectations. It feels natural, automatic, almost invisible. Yet Vedanta says this everyday re-entry hides something deeper. The waker is a role, not your nature. Sit with that for a moment as we explore this verse. If this feels meaningful to your practice, give a like, subscribe, tap the bell, and leave a comment so others can learn from your reflections. Welcome. This is Richard Clarke. Today we'll look at Tattva Bodha, verse 21, the waker, and how you misidentify yourself every morning. The self, identified with the gross body, experiencing the waking state, is called Viśva. This verse points to the identity you take on during the waking state. Viśva is the name given to the self when it appears to operate through the gross body in the waking state. In waking life, you feel located inside a body, looking outward through the senses and responding to a world that seems solid and external. You accept this body as yourself without question or investigation. You say, I am sitting, I am walking, I am thinking. That claim happens so quickly that the identification appears natural. Vedanta slows this down. It invites you to look at what is actually taking place. The body is an object known to you. You can observe sensations. You can recognize changes in posture, age, and appearance. Anything you observe cannot be you. You are the knower of the changes you observe. Yet the waking state encourages you to forget this. Once the senses come online, the pull of identification grows strong. You fall into the feeling that the body is you and the world around you is unquestionably real. Viśva is a teaching tool. It helps you see that your waking personality is just a temporary condition of consciousness. It is not your essence. When the waking state ends every night, Viśva disappears. You do not carry your waking identity into dreams or deep sleep. Something remains, but the role of the waker does not. This knowledge opens a crack in the assumption that your waking life defines you. When the recognition deepens, the waking state loses its authority to convince you that you are defined or limited by the body. This verse can shift the way you move through your day. If you begin to see Viśva as a role instead of your identity, you experience less strain from the pressures of your waking identity. Responsibilities do not vanish, but they lose the sense of absolute weight. Interactions become lighter. The body still functions, the senses still gather information, but you stop believing that this structure is the core of who you are. You have started to free yourself from misidentification with the body. This brings a real sense of freedom. You start to notice that the body acts, thinks, and responds while you remain present as the witness. You observe the waker as if they seem to move through the world. This shift creates a subtle separation, not as an escape, but as clarity. You see how your moods rise and fall. You see how preferences shift. You see how the image of yourself as the waking person is fragile and constantly changing. You see all this from the standpoint of the always present awareness that you are. Once you stop treating Viśva as your identity, you naturally begin to look for what is steady underneath the waking experience. You find a quiet presence behind the senses. That presence does not sleep, dream, or wake. It stays untouched by every movement of the mind and body. As this insight grows, you begin to carry a deep groundedness through the day. The waking experience becomes just one passing appearance within the wider field of awareness. Here's the self-inquiry. What stays the same while the body, senses, and waking experiences change? Let your attention rest on the presence that witnesses the waking state without becoming it. Feel the difference between the movements of the body and the quiet space in which those movements appear. That space is closer to your nature than the waking personality. If this helped deepen your reflection, give a like, subscribe, tap the bell, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your presence and insights strengthen this community. Stay sincere, stay steady, and keep turning inward. Namaste.